Listen to me. I don't care who you are, where you came from, or what mistakes you've made. If you woke up this morning, that means God ain't through with you yet. You still got breath in your body, which means you still got a shot to win. And I came here today to tell you something. You can be unstoppable. See, most people don't fail because they ain't talented. They don't fail because they don't have enough money. They fail because they quit too early. They stopped digging 3 feet away from goal. They let fear, doubt, and people's opinions talk them out of their own destiny. But let me tell you what makes somebody unstoppable. When we talk about belief, most people think it's just some nice idea you keep in your mind, something soft like wishing. But belief is not soft. It is the most powerful medicine you can prescribe to yourself. Imagine for a moment that the mind is a laboratory and every thought you allow inside is a chemical that can either heal you or harm you. Now, when you walk around thinking small, when you see only what is right in front of you, the bills, the rejection, the struggles, you are feeding yourself a weak medicine. It dulls your strength. It keeps you alive, yes, but it doesn't allow you to thrive. Now, let me show you something different. A patient comes in with a broken spirit. They've been told no too many times. They've been laughed at, maybe even abandoned. But if you can prescribe belief to them, if you can get them to imagine bigger, something changes inside the body. You can measure it. The heart beats stronger. The brain lights up with new possibilities. The body begins to behave as if success is not only possible, but inevitable. That is the medicine of belief. Most of us underestimate the power of it. We think that because we don't have enough money or we don't have the right education or we come from the wrong background, that somehow our future is locked away from us. But that's not true. Your current circumstances are nothing more than symptoms. They are not the disease. The disease is small thinking. The disease is accepting that where you are right now is all you will ever be. And the cure is to start believing bigger. Believing bigger means you stop treating your dreams like they are out of reach. You stop saying, maybe one day, and you start saying, why not me? Why not now? You begin to picture yourself already living in the future you desire. See, when you start believing at that level, your behavior shifts. You take different actions. You walk into rooms with more confidence. You ask for opportunities you used to be too scared to even consider. And people around you start responding to that new energy. It's not magic, it's medicine. Think of a doctor who refuses to give up on a patient. The tests may look bad. The scans may not be encouraging, but the doctor knows something. There's always a chance if the patient will fight, if the patient will believe. That's the same with your dreams. You have to be your own doctor, looking at your life and saying, yes, I see the difficulties. I see the odds, but I also see a future worth fighting for. Belief has a way of rewriting the story you tell yourself. Instead of saying, I am broke, you begin to say, I am on my way to financial freedom. Instead of saying, I always fail, you say, every setback is teaching me how to succeed. That shift is like changing a prescription from one that only manages symptoms to one that cures the disease. You start walking differently, talking differently, expecting differently. And here's the truth. Nobody else can write that prescription for you. Not your parents, not your friends, not your boss. They can encourage you, yes, but belief is a medicine only you can take. You have to decide that your dream is worth it, that you are worth it. And once you do, you'll discover what so many unstoppable people already know. When you believe bigger than your circumstances start to change. When the body suffers a wound, the first response is not to declare defeat. The body does not look at a cut and say, well, I suppose we are finished. No, it immediately sets into motion a brilliant system of healing. Blood rushes to the area. Clotting begins. The immune system activates. Cells start repairing tissue. The body knows instinctively that falling, breaking, or bleeding is not the end. It is simply an event that triggers recovery. In the same way, life will knock you down. You will lose jobs, you will lose relationships, you will face rejection, and you will fail at things you thought were certain. But just as the body fights to heal itself, your spirit must fight to rise again. Too many people misunderstand failure. They think it is a diagnosis of finality. They assume that when something doesn't work, it means they are finished. But in medicine, we don't consider a patient gone after the first collapse. We resuscitate, we apply pressure, we shock the heart back to rhythm if necessary. Why? Because we know life has the ability to return. Strength has the ability to recover, if only there is the will to keep fighting. That is the exact prescription you need for your own setbacks. Get back up no matter how many times you fall. There is a patient I once met, metaphorically speaking, who had been knocked down by life so many times that they had begun to accept lying on the floor as their permanent posture. They had lost their job, their marriage, their hope. But when I asked them one question, what would happen if you just stood up again? Something shifted. They realized that as long as they were alive, as long as breath still filled their lungs, they had another chance. That decision to rise became the start of their healing. See, resilience works like muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Each time you fall and get back up, you are building resistance against despair. You are training your mind and spirit the same way we train the body in rehabilitation. After surgery, we don't let the patient stay in bed forever. No, we tell them it's going to hurt, but you must get up and walk today. Why? Because staying down only leads to atrophy. The longer you stay down, the harder it becomes to rise again. But the moment you take that first painful step, healing accelerates. The same is true when life knocks you down. Lying there will only make you weaker. Standing up, even in pain, even in fear, begins the process of recovery. Now here's something important. Getting back up doesn't mean pretending the wound never happened. Doctors don't ignore an injury, they treat it. In the same way, you don't have to deny your pain, your disappointment, or your failure. You acknowledge it, you learn from it, but then you move forward. You don't let it chain you to the ground. That is what makes people unstoppable. They refuse to let one fall become a lifelong sentence. The strongest people you will ever meet are not the ones who never fell. They are the ones who kept rising after every fall. Think of your own body. It carries scars. But those scars are not signs of weakness. They are proof of survival. They tell the world, I was wounded, but I healed. And that is the power you carry within you. Every time you stand up after being knocked down. So the prescription is simple, but not easy. When life knocks you down, don't stay there. Get back up. Rise with the knowledge that falling is not the end. It is only part of the process. Just as the body is designed to heal, your spirit is designed to recover. And if you keep rising, no matter how many times you fall, life itself will have no choice but to reward your persistence. When a patient enters a clinic with a chronic condition, the first thing a doctor knows is that treatment will not be a quick fix. It requires persistence, regular medication, consistent lifestyle adjustments, repeated therapy sessions. If the patient stops halfway through, the illness returns, sometimes stronger. The principle is simple. Persistence cures, quitting kills, and that same law applies to your journey towards success. You may have the talent, you may have the resources, you may even have opportunities, but without consistency, without the refusal to quit, you cannot sustain results. Consider the human heart. It does not beat once and then rest for the day. It beats endlessly without interruption, through joy and through pain, in moments of laughter and in times of sorrow. If the heart were to say, "I've been beating for years, I deserve a break," life would end immediately. That is the nature of success. It demands the same rhythm. You cannot run for one season and then give up. You cannot sow seeds today and abandon the soil tomorrow. Refusing to quit is what keeps the dream alive long enough for it to bear fruit. Many people make the mistake of expecting healing after a single treatment. A patient takes one pill, feels no immediate relief, and assumes the prescription has failed. But medicine doesn't always work instantly. Sometimes it requires days, weeks, even months to show its full effect. Dreams function the same way. You may give your best effort today and see no results tomorrow, but that does not mean it's over. You must stay the course. You must continue the regimen, because every step, though invisible at first, is building something beneath the surface. Think of a cancer patient undergoing chemotherapy. The process is painful, exhausting, and often discouraging. There are days when the body screams to stop. But the treatment only works if the patient endures. In the same way, your pursuit of success will sometimes feel unbearable. You will face criticism, financial strain, sleepless nights, and overwhelming pressure. But if you refuse to quit, if you hold on through the pain, you give yourself the only chance to see victory. Quitting removes all possibility. This is why unstoppable people are different. They treat obstacles not as reasons to stop, but as part of the treatment plan. The wound, the setback, the failure, it is all expected. It is all part of the healing of growth. And just like a doctor insists the patient complete the full course of antibiotics, life demands that you complete the full course of struggle before handing you the reward. Stopping halfway leaves you weaker, unfinished, and vulnerable. But continuing to the end leaves you stronger than before. Every no you receive, every rejection you face is simply another dosage in your treatment. It stings, yes, but it is strengthening you. Every delay is another test, another appointment where you are being stretched to endure. And here is the truth. The cure is not found in brilliance, luck, or shortcuts. The cure is in resilience, the daily refusal to surrender. So the prescription is clear. Do not quit. No matter how tired you feel, no matter how many times you've been turned away, no matter how hopeless it seems, stay the course, because like the heart that never stops beating, like the lungs that never stop breathing, your dream requires the same rhythm. And if you refuse to quit, if you keep applying pressure, if you keep walking forward, then eventually the treatment will take hold. Success will arrive, not as a miracle, but as the inevitable result of your persistence. Pain is often misunderstood. Most people see it only as an enemy, a signal that something is wrong, a burden they wish to escape. But in medicine, pain is also a messenger. When a patient feels pain, the body is signaling that healing is needed. It is drawing attention to an area that requires care, that must be strengthened, that must not be ignored. Without pain, we would not even know where to look. In the same way, the pains of life, disappointment, heartbreak, failure, rejection are not meant to destroy you. They are messengers guiding you toward growth, strength, and the discovery of your true resilience. Think of physical rehabilitation after an injury. A patient with a broken leg does not walk into therapy pain-free. Every stretch, every exercise burns, pulls, and aches. But the therapist insists, push through. The pain is part of the process. What feels like punishment is actually progress. Muscles are rebuilding, bones are strengthening, balance is returning. If the patient avoids the pain, refusing to participate, the leg grows weaker and healing slows. But if they embrace the pain, if they lean into it with determination, the very sensation they once feared becomes the signal that recovery is underway. Now apply this to your life. You lose a job you thought was secure, a relationship you invested in collapses, a business you poured your soul into fails. The pain feels unbearable, like a wound that will not close. But what if you understood that the pain itself could be converted into power? Just as a broken bone heals stronger at the fracture site, your spirit can heal stronger in the very place it was once broken. The ache of failure can fuel discipline. The sting of rejection can build resilience. The weight of disappointment can strengthen your endurance. In medicine, there is a concept called post-traumatic growth. It describes patients who, after suffering a major illness or accident, come out not only surviving but thriving, more grateful, more determined, more alive than before. They do not simply return to who they were, they become stronger versions of themselves. Life offers you the same opportunity. Every painful moment can either leave you bitter or make you better. The choice depends on how you interpret the pain. If you treat it as poison, it will paralyze you. If you treat it as medicine, it will transform you. Think of vaccines. A small dose of the virus is introduced to the body, not to harm, but to train the immune system to fight. Pain works the same way. It introduces difficulty in small, concentrated doses so that your character learns to resist, to toughen, to endure greater challenges ahead. The very thing that hurts you is the thing preparing you. That is why unstoppable people see pain not as punishment, but as preparation. Of course, no patient enjoys the sting of a needle, the soreness of therapy, or the bitterness of medicine, but they endure it because they trust in the outcome. The same must be true for you. Pain is not the end of your story. It is the exercise that strengthens your spirit. It is the refining fire that burns away weakness. It is the teacher that no classroom can replace. So when pain arrives, don't run from it. Study it. Learn from it. Ask yourself, what strength is this trying to build in me? What lesson is this demanding I learn? Because if you can transform the energy of pain into the fuel of persistence, nothing can stop you. Pain is not the proof that you are failing. It is the evidence that you are growing. And in the same way medicine uses discomfort to heal, life uses pain to shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. When a patient enters a clinic, one of the hardest truths to explain is that healing takes time. You cannot rush a broken bone to mend overnight, nor can you demand an infection disappear in an instant. Every treatment has its course. Every wound its natural timeline. A doctor prescribes rest, medication, or therapy, not with impatience, but with patience, trusting the process the body was designed for. In the same way, your life has its own healing rhythm. What you desire, success, freedom, purpose, may not arrive as quickly as you want, but that does not mean it is denied. It simply means it is unfolding according to a higher timetable. Trusting that timing is as vital to your growth as medicine is to the body. Think of a pregnancy from conception to birth. There is a precise order. The heart must form before the lungs, the bones before the muscles, the nervous system before the senses. You cannot pull the baby out at 3 months and expect life. Growth requires patience, waiting, and trust that unseen progress is happening beneath the surface. The same is true for your dreams. You may not see evidence right now. The world may look quiet, uneventful, even hopeless. But beneath the surface, things are aligning. Your skills are forming. Your character is strengthening. Opportunities are being prepared. To interfere with the timing is to disrupt the process. To trust it is to allow life to bring forth something whole and strong. In medicine, there's danger in rushing recovery. A patient who ignores instructions and tries to run on a healing leg too soon risks re-injury. A patient who stops antibiotics early risks relapse. The body whispers, not yet. It demands obedience to the timeline. Your journey works the same way. When life whispers wait, it is not denying you. It is protecting you. It knows that if you arrive too early without the maturity, discipline, or wisdom to handle the blessing, the very thing you prayed for could collapse in your hands. Now, waiting is not passive. Doctors do not tell a patient to sit idly while healing happens. They prescribe light movement, stretches, nourishment, therapy. The patient participates in the recovery while trusting the larger process. That is exactly how you must wait in life. While the timing is unfolding, you prepare yourself, you learn, you strengthen, you serve, you keep your mind sharp and your spirit ready. Because when the moment finally arrives, you will need to step into it fully prepared. Waiting is not wasted when it is used for preparation. Often patients become discouraged because they cannot see immediate progress. A wound still hurts. A scar still lingers. Energy has not returned, but the doctor reassures them. Healing is happening, even if you cannot see it. The same is true for your destiny. Just because you cannot measure movement does not mean nothing is shifting. Trust is required. You have to believe that life, God, the universe, whatever name you choose, knows what it's doing. There is a schedule greater than yours, and it is working for your benefit. So when doors don't open yet, when prayers seem unanswered, when success feels delayed, remember the medical truth: delayed is not denied. A seed planted today does not bear fruit tomorrow, but one day, with the right time and conditions, it breaks through the soil. Trust the soil. Trust the season. Trust the unseen work happening in the dark. The prescription then is simple. Patience. Not the patience of idleness, but the patience of trust. Keep preparing, keep moving, keep believing, but allow the process to finish its course. Because when the timing is right, the blessing will not be fragile. It will be strong, mature, and ready to last. And just as the body knows how to heal in its own time, your life knows how to deliver exactly what you need when you are ready to carry it. When a doctor examines a patient, one of the first questions asked is simple. Do you want to get well? Because no matter the medicine, no matter the surgery, no matter the treatment plan, the patient's willingness to fight, to follow instructions, to believe in their own recovery is the deciding factor. A doctor can guide, prescribe, and operate, but the patient must choose to live. And this is the same with your dreams. The greatest truth is that no outside force, no critic, no obstacle, no setback can stop you unless you stop yourself. You are both the patient and the healer in your own story. Think of the immune system. It is designed to protect you, to fight off infections, to heal wounds, but it only activates when the body responds. If the body shuts down, refusing to fight, no medicine can save it. In life, your will is the immune system of your dreams. People may attack you with doubt, life may strike you with hardship, failure may infect your confidence, but as long as your will keeps fighting, you cannot be defeated. It is only when you surrender, when you stop believing, stop trying, that the dream dies. Too many people give their power away. They blame their family, their past, the economy, or their enemies for why they cannot succeed. But in medicine, we know the truth. The greatest danger is not the outside virus, but the inside response. Two patients can be exposed to the same illness. One fights and recovers, the other gives up and deteriorates. The difference is not what attacked them, but how they responded. In the same way, you and someone else may face the same rejection, the same poverty, the same failure, but if you refuse to quit on yourself, your outcome will be different. There is a saying in surgery: the patient on the table has to want to live. Surgeons can open the chest, repair the heart, stitch the wound. But if the patient spirit gives up, the body follows. That is how powerful your choice is. Life can open doors, mentors can guide you, opportunities can appear, but if you decide to stop walking, it all ends there. The greatest prescription for success is the decision not to quit on yourself. Every scar on your body is evidence that you chose not to give up. Every healed wound is proof that you continued forward when pain tried to hold you back. And the same applies to your inner life. The moments when you said, I will try again. The days when you dragged yourself out of bed, even with doubt in your chest. The times you chose to keep going when it would have been easier to stop. Those are the victories that made you unstoppable. Here's the truth. No one likes to hear. People can doubt you, underestimate you, and even walk away from you, but none of that can stop your destiny. Only you can. The moment you decide, I'm done, I can't, I won't, that's when it ends. And the moment you say, no matter what, I'm not finished, that's when it begins again. It is not your haters, not your failures, not your past mistakes that determine your future. It is your own choice to rise or to quit. So the prescription is as clear as it is challenging. Guard against self-sabotage. Refuse to be your own enemy. When the voices of doubt whisper inside your head, answer them with persistence. When fatigue tempts you to surrender, remind yourself that healing, growth, and success come only to those who endure. And when everything around you says, stop, become the patient who insists, not yet, I'm still alive, I'm still fighting. Because in the end, no one has the authority to stop your progress, but you, not your circumstances, not your enemies, not even your failures. If you keep choosing to rise, keep choosing to believe, you will become unstoppable, not because the world gave you permission, but because you refuse to deny yourself the chance to win.